week, and this is
Neverland Navigation Radio.
And as we like to say here on Neverland Navigation Radio, Twin Day, which means let's go. Jumbo, everyone. What are we talking about today, Morgan?
We are talking about Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Woo!
We are getting into the history. It's a little bit more surprising than I thought.
There's some twists on this
Did
safari.
you know?
I know about a big and a little.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, there's more.
There's more?
Okay, all right.
That's exciting.
Before we get into it, if you are thinking about taking a safari or a Disney World or Disneyland vacation or a cruise.
It's like you knew.
Yeah. You send me an email at neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com and let me be your free travel agent. I'm a free to you travel agent. So the company that you're traveling to pays me, even though I get you probably a better deal than you can find yourself. And I give you free trip t-shirts from our 5-star Etsy shop as a thank you if you let me be your travel agent. Plus, you're helping a small business. So this is a win-win-win. My email is neverlandnavigationco@gmail.com, and I would appreciate it. I'd love to hear from our podcast fans.
Yeah. Podcast fans, go support the Neverland Navigation travel industry.
Yeah.
Hey, if you would also like to support us, we would love to see you guys over in the reviews of the podcast platform that you're listening to us through. Whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leaving a review is a great way to boost us up in the podcast ratings, and we also love to read them. So we would really appreciate it if you left us one. If you enjoyed the episode, we would love to hear from you. You can also see how we've decorated the set and what we're wearing on the visual version of the show, Neverland Navigation Radio. The visual version can be found on the YouTube channel Neverland Navigation Co. And we would love, thank you. We would love to see you guys over there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I feel like you need it. You need the visual version this week because there's some props.
There's props every week.
Well, yes, but this time we're using them like props.
Oh, you really like the binoculars.
Yeah.
Oh, I just gave one of them away.
Wow, they're not even going to go over to the YouTube channel.
They might. There's other stuff to see.
Yeah, if you want to see the binoculars, then you go over there.
Yeah. All right, so shall we begin at the beginning?
Yes, let's begin. That's the best place to begin.
Yeah,
yes.
All right. So now I'm going to quiz you with the same question you quizzed me on last week. When did this open?
April 22nd, 1998.
Good job.
Yay! We literally just did that an hour ago when we recorded the Festival of the Lion King episode.
Yeah.
So if I missed that, it would have been shameful.
Well, we learn a lot.
We do cover a lot of
dates
too.
In our
it's
brain.
So true. When you really think about it, we've got a lot of numbers up there.
Yeah. So April 22nd, 1998 was Earth Day, 1998, and it's when Animal Kingdom opened, and this was an opening day attraction.
Yes.
So, but actually, if I'm beginning at the beginning, like the real beginning,
the Big Bang.
No, not that far.
Okay.
We could go all the way back till when Walt was telling his idea for the Jungle Cruise.
Oh.
Because the Jungle Cruise, he wanted, in his brain, was going to have live animals.
Oh,
so his imagination was to have a ride where you are taking some sort of trek and you could see all these live animals.
Mm-hmm.
When they wound up doing development for the Jungle Cruise, they decided that it was too unpredictable and they were worried about safety and worried about the experience, and they decided to do animatronics instead.
Okay. And
then even later than that is when the jokes came into play. Like, for me, I think of Jungle Cruise and I think of jokes.
Yes.
But that's not even how it started. And that's not how he envisioned it. You know what I mean? He was thinking more like what we get with Kilimanjaro Safaris.
True life adventures.
Yeah. So that's kind of fascinating. Kilimanjaro Safaris is kind of the his dream becoming reality.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that for him.
You know how people say Walt Disney would have hated Epcot? Walt Disney would have loved Kilimanjaro Safaris.
Yes.
He would have loved Epcot too. We get
Yeah.
into that. But
We've gotten
Kilimanjaro
into that,
Safari, that is really cool that it's like
it really was what
the
he wanted.
realization
Yeah,
of his...
they figured it out. You know what I mean?
It makes you wish he would have lived long enough to see it, you know?
Yeah.
He would have been very happy with that, I feel.
Yeah. I hope he's like a spirit or something, can see it in some way.
Yes. His frozen head. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's not.
Let's not.
To make the live animal thing a reality, what they didn't have at the time when he was envisioning Jungle Cruise having live animals, what they needed was a crap ton of space.
Okay, yeah.
And so in Kilimanjaro Safaris, we get that.
Oh.
So Kilimanjaro Safaris is 110 acres. And the entirety of Magic Kingdom is 107 acres.
Wow.
So I know a lot of people know this bit of trivia, but I think it's just so fascinating and fun to like kind of imagine yourself walking around all of Magic Kingdom and how exhausting that is. And then be like, that's not even as big as just this one ride in Animal Kingdom.
It is mind-blowing. I know it is one that I have heard before, but it doesn't stop me from being...
in awe.
Yeah, when I hear it, because you really start to think that's a lot of land.
It's so much land. Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't see all of that on your trek,
right?
But that's what they needed to make this a reality, because they need space for the animals to live. You know what I mean? And to rotate. They actually rotate the animals so that they're not always on stage, so to speak. Yeah,
you've got to give them their 15-minute break. Their union contract is not going to stand for this.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. So, and then another kind of awe-inspiring, ridiculous thing I've got a lot of this episode there's a little bit of a story, but there's a lot of what I think of as fun facts or trivia facts.
Fun.
So we're going to be going through a lot of that stuff. So another one is that Disney had to move over 1.5 million cubic yards of dirt and place 2.3 million trees, bushes, and plants to make this a habitat for all these different species of animals.
Wow, because it was probably just like swamp?
Probably,
before?
Right? Like that's what all of Central Florida was.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, everything that we do in Disney World used to be swamp.
Yeah.
But yeah, this they had to turn into a bunch of different kinds of like habitats for these different animals.
And when you think about like when you ride the ride in your mind and you think about all the different types of environment, like grasslands, some are lush, like rainforesty type, oasis type, there's a bunch of different biomes represented, and to make that out of nothing is quite the because it feels ancient there.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It feels naturally made.
Yes, I totally agree.
Way to go, Disney.
And most of it is real. The one tree that's the upside down tree, that's actually not real. It would not have survived here, but I think that's the one. But anyway, most of it is real. And then I'll just get into this now. They also had to do like pretty extensive, I want to say landscaping type things to keep the guests safe and to keep animals from eating other animals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's like there's a moat that separates the animals, and it's 18 feet deep and 21 feet wide. That's the tiger one specifically.
Wow.
Or lion or both. I mean, they don't want any chance, obviously, of that one of those big cats jumping over and getting to the safari train, not vehicle. So
I don't want that either.
Right. So I thought that was interesting. Another thing that they did is the rocks that the tigers or the lions, actually it's the lions, lay on, have a heating element to it and an air conditioning element to it.
Really?
Yeah, they got the lions that at least were there when it first opened from a zoo in Oregon.
Okay.
They didn't, when it first opened, they did not take any animals like from the wild. They sourced them from zoos.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think just to make the beginning easier.
Yeah.
Later on, I'm going to talk a little bit about the babies, and there have just been so many born here in Animal Kingdom now that like
Cute.
they've got their own thing going.
Aw.
But those lions came from Oregon, so you can imagine the difference in temperature being an issue. So they made air conditioned rocks for them to lay on.
Wow.
But they can be heated rocks when it's cold out.
Okay, cool.
That also encourages them to kind of lie about out there on Pride Rock so that we can see them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That kind of fascinating.
Really fascinating.
Very bougie for the lion.
Oh, yes. They are luxuriating on those rocks. Good for them.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
Totally. So the ride length is 20 minutes, which is the longest non-show ride in the parks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. So this is our longest one now, because all the other long ones are dead. They're extinct. They're gone. You know? This is our last surviving long ride.
Yeah, it used to be more of a thing. You're right. Do you think that it used to be Universe of Energy?
Universe of Energy. I mean, the Backlot Tour.
The Backlot Tour. Oh my God.
And its original length.
Oh yeah.
It was like half a day or something. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The Universe of Energy was long. The Great Movie Ride was quite long.
Yes.
So yeah, 10 minutes.
Oh, I don't think the Great Movie Ride was 20 minutes though.
No, not 20 minutes. Not that long.
Yeah, but those two
maybe
for
around this
sure.
range. Maybe 10 or longer.
Yeah.
Maybe like 12 or 13.
Yeah, and so that's 20 minutes if you don't get stopped, which you can get stopped. There are like, of course, if an animal walks in front of the vehicle, then they've got to stop. These are open air safari jeeps or trucks that can hold like 32 people.
Cool.
And they're GMC, if that matters to anybody. They run on propane, and they are free moving vehicles. They don't like run on a track, which I thought, I guess I knew that, but I did think that there was more control than just the driver.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
It almost, when I was younger, I almost thought that they were like RFID guided or something.
Right.
Like in the way the Great Movie Ride and Universe of Energy. Wow, they somehow both crept their way back in here twice.
Yeah.
They were theoretically trackless, but they were guided by an in-ground RFID guide wire thing.
Yes.
And I almost thought that about this.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think it's a lot of pressure for the cast member to be talking about the animals and even occasionally cracking a joke. I love when you get a joke on Kilimanjaro.
Me too.
Very
and rare, but very
driving
fun.
a vehicle and watching out for
Poachers.
issues.
Oh.
Poachers. Yeah, poachers.
Poachers.
I forgot that we're looking out for poachers. Yeah, firing a gun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They do have a really hard job. They're like off-roading. They have to be able to spot the animals and know what's what and everything. And and keeping account of the safety of the guests is a big...
exactly.
People want to stand up on that ride.
Oh my gosh, I know.
You know?
I don't know what people
want to. There is something in them that wants to stand up on that ride. Yeah. And so they have the very hard job of driving, keeping people sitting down, keeping it entertaining. Like, oh my gosh.
You can't get out.
I'm stressed out just thinking about a shift on the Kilimanjaro Safari.
It's a lot.
Y'all deserve everything. The cast members, they deserve it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing about the vehicle and the drive itself that I found interesting is that the roadbed that you drive on looks like it's dirt, but it's actually brown concrete. But they put bumps into it to simulate a rocky safari ride. Funny. Yeah, I like that.
I like that too. That ride is bumpy as heck too.
I know.
Cannot
and there's
nap
part
on that
where
one.
you're kind of like tilting.
Leaned over.
Yeah. The Jeep is at least in the original narration. I can't think right now if it's still the same, but it was called Simba 1.
Yeah.
They would be like, come in, Simba 1. I'll get into the story in a minute.
Oh, yeah. They would like call you on the walkie.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
I like that. In Swahili, Simba means lion.
Yes.
So
we were Lion 1.
Yeah. We were Lion 1. It's cute. Let's see. To make sure you get to see a number of different species. So they, in addition to having to build like moats and stuff to keep them from getting to you, they also had to build things in to make the animals want to be by the road.
Yeah.
So they put in like strategically placed watering holes and salt licks to try to tempt the animals to be near the path when they're passing along.
You want to be by the trucks. That's where the salt is.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's apparently a treat.
Right. They want that. They want to lick that all day.
I guess. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's also a little like, if you want water, you will be doing the entertainment portion of this a little bit.
Oh, you don't like that? Yeah. Well, see,
it's not that I don't like it, because you got to give them water. You might as well put the water thing close to the, it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah. Right. I think it does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have other options, and they're given
probably, yeah.
Like I said, they're given days off basically.
Yeah,
like
and they're not always on set. They rotate in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
They have a whole area that we will never see. Although there is a tour.
Mm-hmm. Not behind the scenes.
No, not behind the scenes.
Behind the safari. That's not what it's called.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what it's called. But yeah, that's the vibe. And we haven't personally done it, so I can't say anything to that. That would be a cool thing to do one day, though.
Yeah, we should totally do that.
Yeah. And maybe you get to see, I'm sure you get to see some of the like pins in the vet area and stuff like that. The animals are like checked every night. They call them in. They've got places that are protected for them to sleep and stuff like that. They use audio cues to call the animals into their enclosures at night.
Oh, cool.
And they have to use different audio cues for different species. It's kind of fascinating. And some of them are drums, some are whistles, horns, bells, and even a duck call.
Whoa. Yeah. It's so cool that they like figured that out.
Yeah. It's like they trained them. You know?
Yeah, it is like that.
Yeah.
They should. I would love to, if on the tour they get into that.
Yeah.
I would love to know more about that. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then if you've ridden this, you've gone by Flamingo Island, and from an aerial point of view, that is a hidden Mickey.
Really?
Yeah. I
didn't know that.
You didn't?
No, so Flamingo Mickey?
Flamingo Island is a hidden Mickey. Like it's shaped like a Mickey. That's not even my favorite hidden thing though in all of this. Let's see if let me.
Oh, it is a Mickey.
Yeah, isn't it cute?
Oh, it's even cuter from above.
Right.
Adorable.
Yeah, you can't tell as much from the actual ride.
No, you can't. But like now that you see it, you can. Yeah. Like you can make it out in your brain.
Right.
And you can even actually really see where they do the manicuring to make it look very Mickey shaped sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like a questionable hidden Mickey. It's
No, yeah, it's totally a hidden Mickey. Yeah. I didn't even know about that. How cool.
Yeah, well, here's another one that I bet you didn't know about because I was so shocked. And in the queue, there's a poster for a Captain Bob's Super Safaris. And it's just like a poster. And it's got a little drawn picture of a guy, and that uses the likeness of Imagine Your Joe Rohde, which just makes me happy. I love how he kind of shows up all over the place. Yeah, it's just a poster in the queue,
and you wouldn't even know it's Joe Rohde because this person has what looks to be no crazy ear thing.
I know that's my main way of identifying him also, but
right, you look for the dangly ear bit.
Yeah,
but this like I bet just looks like his face, you know.
Yeah,
cool, very cool. No, I had no idea that was in there.
Yeah,
I bet I've laid eyes on it, you know what I mean, but you don't know what you're looking at really,
right?
Unless if you don't know, you don't know,
right? You wouldn't really know, but that's what they did. I mean, that was they said
it's for them, and I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. I'm gonna look for this next time I'm there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Same. So here's another little trivia thing from Kilimanjaro that I don't know if you will love this, but
I haven't known any of them yet, so.
Well, I know you won't have already known this.
Okay.
It's almost such a not fun thing to talk about.
I'll decide that.
Yeah. No, so 2,000 pounds of manure is produced by the elephants at Disney's Animal Kingdom every single day.
Oh, wow.
And Disney uses that to fertilize all the grounds across the parks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The circle of life.
Yeah. It's got like a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Very, very Animal Kingdom, and it's,
Yes, use everything.
Yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite one so far.
Yeah.
Safari.
And then, so I love this, right? You'll love this because it's just like Everest. If you guys heard our history of Everest podcast, I talked about how even though the ride is called Expedition Everest, that it actually takes place on a fictional mountain called the Forbidden Mountain.
Right.
And Everest is in like the background. Right? This is the same. The ride is named for Mount Kilimanjaro, and it's got the mountain in the logo. But the ride isn't set in Tanzania's Kilimanjaro National Park. It's set in a fictional place called Harambee Wildlife Reserve.
Right.
And you hear them say Harambee, and you see the word Harambee all over this part of the park.
Yeah.
And that's fictional.
Right. The whole Harambee village in Africa is fictional. That it is. Obviously, it doesn't take place on the mountainside, so it can't take place on Kilimanjaro. But I've never even second guessed. It's called Kilimanjaro.
It's just like Everest. Did you ever think about it before we found out? Neither did I.
Nope.
I didn't think about it whatsoever.
Really interesting.
Yes, and you actually, if you want to see Kilimanjaro National Park, it's in soaring around the world. So you do have that opportunity. But this is Harambee, and there are a bunch of Easter eggs scattered throughout the Disney parks about Harambee, this fictional place.
Yeah.
I could go into them if you want.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let me jump down here real quick. Okay. So these Harambee or Kilimanjaro Safari Easter eggs from the different parks, I'm going to give credit to the Jungle Cruise Wiki fandom.
Cool.
Yeah, I was in the Jungle Cruise.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So kind of interesting. The Adventure Trading Company, the daily newspaper, but it's spelled GNUS paper, which I love, mentions the Adventure Trading Company having stopped in Harambee before arriving in Adventureland. So it's just like,
Okay, so linking Adventureland to Harambee.
Yeah.
Kind of. Cool.
Which I like. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I like that too. Hey, there is a little bit of Africa in our Adventureland.
I guess.
After all.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Adventure's Outpost, a bulletin board, and the Outpost has field notes on Rafiki's Planet Watch, while a chalkboard identifies days of traveling to the Harambee Reserve main station, Harambee Wildlife Reserve Warden Station, and Pangani Forest Trail. A mural shows parts of Harambee's gates.
Okay.
So
where's Adventurer's Outpost?
I'm guessing this is part of Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think that's all of that. You know, you take that train over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that very often.
We've done it a couple times.
Yeah, it closes in the mid-afternoon, early afternoon. Yeah.
Tough to get over there.
Yeah. In Disney Springs, in the Marketplace Co-op of Disney Springs, Harambee is listed on a flight board of several locations connected to Disney materials and history.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. In the Lamplight Lounge in Disneyland, which is kind of wild because, this is all the way across the country. There is a board of badges from the Wilderness Explorers missions, including those for Kilimanjaro Safari.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Cool. Not the last place I would expect to find some Animal Kingdom.
I know. So probably if I had you guess what the first place, you would have been like, I think there'll probably be an Easter egg there. That's my next one. And that is Skipper's Canteen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skipper's
I believe
Canteen.
it.
Yeah. There's a book in the library titled The Harambee Chronicles.
Aw.
Yeah.
Love that.
Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar.
Oh.
I assume they're talking about the one in Disney World, but it could be both.
Yeah, I would assume so too.
Yeah, there's an old photograph in the bar of Jungle Cruise character Trader Sam on elephant back safari in Africa. The message on the photo from Sam reads, "Embarking from Harambee Village on safari," and the logo for Kilimanjaro Safaris is on the saddle of the elephant.
Cool.
Yeah. So specific.
It's crazy how many references this ride gets. I mean, it is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most iconic ride in Animal Kingdom, possibly apart now from
I think
Expedition
so too.
Everest. But I remember a time when Expedition Everest was not an option, where Kilimanjaro was like the star of Animal Kingdom. It was the ride you did.
Yeah, totally. I think even though Kilimanjaro Safari is not my favorite ride,
Mm-hmm.
it is still the most iconic. Does that make sense for the park?
Yeah, it is like the heartbeat of Animal Kingdom because I think it really encapsulates that true life adventure feeling that you were talking about how Walt Disney wanted that for the Jungle Cruise. Well, I think that same spirit really guided Joe Rohde through the development of Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is so much about realism and honoring not just artistic merit and animation classics like a bunch of other Disney projects are, but it's committed to honoring the beauty and the majesty of nature and the civilizations across the planet that interact with nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
totally.
really authentically telling those stories. And I think when you look at Animal Kingdom that way, in terms of like the intentions of the Imagineers, and you look at Kilimanjaro Safari, it really tells the heart of that story. The conservation message, the wildlife message,
Yeah.
all of it is communicated through this one attraction. And in true Animal Kingdom style, it's all real animals, and they actually use the manure to
Yeah.
manicure all of to fertilize all of the plants.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it goes that deep.
Yeah. The only thing I think,
and it's a rescue operation.
Yes, the only thing I think is interesting, kind of, is that they pushed so hard the not a zoo thing when it first opened, and this does kind of have that vibe, but it didn't at the beginning. Let me get into the story.
Ooh, the story.
Okay.
This is actually probably my favorite bit of the whole thing.
Yes. Me too, and it might be even more so than you think that it's going to be, because just out of total interest, like I'm just shocked that there was an aspect to this that I didn't know, because I remember the poaching story. Do you remember the poaching story?
I do.
So when we were younger, let's see, it was until 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So until 2012, so from basically opening till 2012.
Yeah, 14 years.
Yeah. There was a poacher storyline where at some point that somebody would come on the radio and say, like, Simba 1, we need your help, and you have to go kind of scare off some poachers to save an elephant called Big Red and its baby called Little Red.
Yes.
Yeah, and you go over a rickety thing, and at the very beginning there was even a gun, kind of like in Jungle Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the gun? What was it for?
Scaring them off, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, scaring off the poachers.
Yeah, but
right.
More fascinating than all of that is they had a little bit of a different take on this poacher story before opening day.
Really?
And they had previews for cast members and VIPs and stuff like that that happened before the park even opened, and the feedback was so negative that by the time they opened, they had scrapped this end part. And that is that at the very end, we would not have rescued them, and we come across a bloodied, dead elephant with its tusks cut off. Like, holy crap.
That's so crazy.
Can you believe they even thought that would work?
Wow.
Like, you drove the point home about this conservation thing. I get that that's the point that whoever wrote this was going for.
Yeah.
But can you believe that somewhere in, I'm sure they just got rid of it, but possibly somewhere in a museum is this prop bloody dead elephant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is something that they made.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, so dark. I can't. Can you? And you take little kids on this? I can't even believe. So
that's crazy. I absolutely understand, like, what you were saying. You want to drive home the message about, the conservation of it all, but I definitely see how this would be very disturbing.
Did you find a picture?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. See, this was only during previews, so I didn't even see a picture, but if you found one, I would love to see that later.
It's very sad.
Oh my gosh. The story to begin, like the story that we grew up with or whatever, was sad.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because these poor elephants are in danger, and luckily we saved them. We helped save them and
Right.
scare off the poachers. But then they even said, I think at the end of it, this doesn't always happen. Please contribute.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they were asking for money to go towards like the Wildlife Conservation Fund, which helped with things like this. So it was already, I feel like, a pretty deep message. But to really be like, look, this is what happens. And I can't believe that this made it so far that they actually made a prop dead elephant.
Yeah.
Isn't that the most shocking thing ever?
That is so sad. It sounds crazy that so they made this prop, and then this from Parkeology, who's another theme park kind of historian. They posted that the element was removed prior to the grand opening, at which time visitors were told that Big Red was shot, but was going to be okay. So, and I think that sounds familiar to me.
Wait a minute, what does it say?
It says that, okay, so there were poachers, and the matriarchal elephant got shot, and that Little Red was saved. But Big Red was only killed during cast previews. Shocked guests saw her artificial hulking corpse by the side of the road. But this element was removed prior to the grand opening, at which time visitors were told Big Red was shot, but was going to be okay.
Oh, yeah. I remember that too.
Me too, yeah.
So,
Big Red is going to be okay.
Yeah. The cast previews one, though, like, they showed her tusks sawed off.
Oh, so crazy.
Unbelievable. I can't, I've, like, tried to think, like, how could they think this was going to be okay? I'm shocked.
I'm almost proud of them for committing
that is committing
so heavily to the theme, to say, yeah, well, if the kids are crying a little bit, you know what's sad? Poaching.
Yeah.
And they'll never forget it now, huh?
Yeah.
Like that, there is almost a level of like, well, sometimes that's what you need, you know, to get a message home. But I also see how Michael Eisner probably had a heart attack when he received the information that there were complaints about a dead elephant on a Disney ride.
Yeah.
And the kids were crying. You know what I mean? Like, I can see how this is a big problem.
I can't believe it made it that far. This is what I just keep thinking.
So then they changed the storyline.
So they changed the storyline to where, we saved the day. Or I guess, she got shot, but she was going to be okay. So it's not like,
But you see Little Red.
Uh-huh.
They like rescue Little Red. She's in the Jeep, like you said.
Yeah.
This other Jeep.
Right.
But
this is an animatronic.
Yeah. But you never see Big Red again.
Right.
But
that's why
they have to tell you that she's okay, because originally the way they were representing her was by having her dead on the ground. Very fascinating little piece of Disney history.
There's not generally a lot of history stuff that from Disney where I look at and I'm like, wow, that's dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't really even think of any other examples.
No, I mean, it's one thing to have like, wow, Alien is a very scary franchise to put into a ride. Alien Encounter, it's a very scary thing to simulate the bloody murder of a janitor, you know, during the show. That's sad. Remember, they killed the guy up in the rafters and his blood come down. That was spooky.
What? In what?
Alien Encounter. There was like a murder in that, like a full murder.
I was still picturing. Were you talking about Great Movie Ride at the beginning, or did my brain just go that direction?
No, we were talking about Alien. How Alien was scary in the Great Movie
Ride.
Okay.
Okay. My brain was still on Great Movie Ride, and I was who got killed? Okay, got it. We're on Alien Encounter now. Also crazy.
Someone does turn to bones in the Great Movie Ride, but it's through fog. You know, that's different. But this and that Alien Encounter murder are the most disturbing, I would say.
Yes,
this might be the top.
This is the top
because you have an emotional connection to this character.
That's a mom.
This is trauma.
Yes, and I know Disney likes killing off moms, but not in this bloody, horrific way. It's just like that this happened a long time ago.
End of the attraction.
Yeah. This is what you're leaving with. Yeah, and I also think that just in general, and I think this is true of most people, that like in films and stuff, it's harder to see an animal die than a human.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we're like used to seeing humans killed on TV and in movies, but like seeing an animal feel
It really tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
I get that.
I think because they're so innocent.
And we don't even see Little Red anymore at all, do we?
No.
Totally gone?
So this is another thing that I don't understand about this ride. In 2012, they announced that the entire Poacher storyline would be removed, along with the scenes associated with it, and the animatronics would be taken away. They would no longer feature a fictional storyline other than the fact that you're in Africa when you're really not. And they were going to put a new zebra exhibit in the area that was previously occupied by the storyline props. But then a few months after they put the zebra exhibit there, which was in 2013, it was announced that the zebras were not acclimating to their new home and they were going to be taken away. So I don't get it. They have 110 acres. I don't think that they needed to remove something to add something.
It was
and then
clearly
sad that it didn't work.
A story decision to like remove
Why?
The poaching.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That to me is actually what made this ride so impactful
and interesting.
Yes,
honestly,
dangerous
Yes.
and exciting.
Right. That's what made it not a zoo.
Oh my god!
In my personal
You're
opinion.
so right.
Yeah,
there
but
was like
now-
drama,
Yes.
suspense,
Animatronics. Thank you very much, Disney. You know what I mean? I don't get.
I totally get that.
Yeah, and now it's like
A zoo.
I'm not. Yeah, it is. It's impressive. It's big. You've got a lot of animals. You've done these cool things to make it so that we can be close. But so has Busch Gardens. You know what I mean? And you're better than that.
Yes.
So that to me is very unfortunate. Since they removed the Poacher storyline and like you said, the animatronics and making it interesting and a little dangerous, I don't go on it as much anymore. We have gone on it. I'll go on it and see, the animals.
And they don't do the Rickety Bridge thing anymore.
Do they not?
Right? I don't think so.
Or not to the same extent, maybe?
Maybe not to the same extent. I feel like the last couple times I've been on it, there has been no Rickety Bridge.
Yeah. So
I definitely remember the Rickety Bridge effect from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Rickety is the wrong word. You get on the bridge and it vibrates and it's on a hydraulic thing that like.
I think rickety is the right word. I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah, like a perilous, dangerous bridge. And now we don't do that. We don't have the exciting call from the game warden who you meet in the pre-show and then checks in with you. So all of the story is gone.
Yes.
How unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. It bums me out.
Me too.
I was happy with their finding out that they made the decision to remove the whole corpse element. That never made sense in my brain.
Yeah,
but having the rest of it made a lot of sense to me. And now it's a little bit, like you said, zoo, boring.
Right.
So bummer.
I do still, don't get me wrong, I do still enjoy it. It is still a very enjoyable attraction.
I like how it can be different.
Yes.
Every time.
But it's one of those things where they changed it and now I enjoy it a little less.
Yeah, and I was reading that they used to have a night version and they'd even call it something different like Night Safari or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then whoever wrote this blog or I can't remember, it could have been a Reddit post, was like, oh, this isn't there anymore. And I'm like, nothing night is there anymore. They just aren't open at night anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. How you gonna have a nighttime safari when the park is closed?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm the storyline and all of its changes are very interesting.
Yeah.
It is a legit ride to go on.
Totally.
It's definitely not in my top maybe 5 things I want to do at Animal Kingdom anymore because they took the story away, because they took the Disney element away. I would love to hear how Joe Rohde feels about the change.
Me too.
But I don't. I haven't. You want to ask him?
Yeah, I'll tweet at him. I'll tweet at him.
Because I know how he feels about Everest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that he put his opinions about all of the Everest world out there. But I did not come across anything. If you find something, I'll be thrilled. Saying how he felt about the storyline going away and it becoming just seeing animals while in a truck.
Right.
Another thing that I wanted to cover while doing the Kilimanjaro Safari history is all of the baby animals that have been kind of born and become kind of part of Kilimanjaro Safaris. Sometimes they're part of the walkthrough treks and stuff like that. And I do this because way earlier this year, well, actually, yeah, way earlier this year, what the Sumatran, do you think I'm saying this right? Sumatran tiger cub Baxo was he was born in 2024, but was brought to we were able to see him in 2020, early 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And that created so much buzz, and there were like hours long lines to see him, that I thought that I would get into it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to name all the animals that were born.
Oh.
And I am wrong, because in 2023, over 300 baby animals were born.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
So it is 2025 right now, and I don't have the number of how many were born in 2024, but for whatever reason, Disney announced that over 300 babies were born in Animal Kingdom in 2023. And I was just really shocked by this number, because I have when Baxo was first like coming out onto the Animal Kingdom scene, my Instagram feed was flooded. Was yours
with what? With
Baxo
what?
stuff?
Oh,
like,
yes.
oh, look at the tiger here. Like,
it was like anything anyone was posting about.
Yes, exactly. So then to find out that over 300 were born like in a year, that's I haven't heard of a lot of them. So maybe it's just that he's so cute, a tiger cub. And this Baxo was he was born in September 2024. This was significant because there's less than 600 of these Sumatran tigers left in the wild, so very, very endangered.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, Disney's youngest African elephant, Cora, was born in 2023. That was a cute one. I remember seeing some stuff about that. She likes sweet potatoes. That's adorable.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yeah. There were 4 zebras that were born in the last few years that made a big splash on social media. And then there's a baby addax, which is also known as a white antelope or a screw-horned antelope, which I feel like I see these every time I go on Kilimanjaro Safari, but they're very, very endangered. This addax, there's less than 100 in the wild in the entire world, and 180 that are in care around the world. So less than 300 total in the entire world. So, and they're known, these antelopes are known for their curly horns, which the calves are born with, which sounds incredibly dangerous and painful.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they painful?
Oh, I don't know, but I can't imagine how they couldn't be.
Because we're thinking they're gonna poke.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hope not. Yeah.
When I was pregnant, I was worried about the baby kicking through my stomach. So yeah, and mine didn't have horns.
Yes. The horns are definitely an extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find anything?
No, not yet.
Well, that really concludes all of my Kilimanjaro information, all of the trivia type information, along with the changing storyline.
Oh my gosh, there's so many changes.
Yeah.
I will say it is kind of crazy to think about the fact that they built all of that from nothing. I'm still kind of stuck on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I do lament the changes that have been made to the ride, but I still do enjoy riding it.
Same. I agree with that.
Is there a time of day you like to ride the safari the most? This is a very popular question.
I read that the animals are most active first thing in the morning or between, I think, 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's good to know. 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
When they did it in the evening, that was my favorite.
I really liked that too.
I liked it too, and there were a different set of animals that were pretty active in the evening, and I really liked that. Like duskish.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it back then. And that was back when Animal Kingdom was open at night, when they've gone back and forth with that. I can also say like 20 years ago they were closing at 5. So
is that true when like Animal Kingdom was first opening?
Yeah. I don't know about first opening. I wasn't I was a child then, so I didn't.
Right, fair enough. 20 years. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wish they stayed open later, if not just so I could do the nighttime safari, because I really enjoyed it.
There were a lot of things about Animal Kingdom at night that we really loved that we missed. But yes, this was definitely one of it. One of them. I really enjoyed doing it at night. What's your favorite time to go?
I like to go. I mean, my favorite probably was the nighttime ones.
Yeah.
I like to go toward the end of the day. I like when the sun is kind of starting to set.
Yeah.
I think that's a very peaceful
And you could
time.
get that now.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're like the last riders on Kilimanjaro Safari, you probably get a pretty enjoyable little dusky type of.
Yeah, I wonder if it's not even available for like the nighttime events that they do every once in a blue moon.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they run the safari for that.
Yeah.
I would be hoping that they ran the safari.
I would too, but I feel like in recent years, whether this is the actual reason or not, they are kind of hiding behind this. Oh, we're not doing all this stuff because it's not good for the animals. But they did it before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the show, the light show.
Right.
Rivers, what was it? Anyway. Rivers of Light. That's what it was called.
Yeah, the nighttime spectacular. I keep trying to think of the word spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find lots of information on what Joe Rohde had to say about Everest, but I couldn't find anything about what he had to say about Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find anything.
But Everest was one of his many babies, and I don't know that Kilimanjaro was as much his baby.
Yeah,
yeah. All of Animal Kingdom was, in its own way, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he did say this. Then there's Big Red, the dead elephant. Everyone thought they were real dead animals. And so they would get off the thing and the operators will go, "You've got to do something. There's a dead animal." "No, you're trying to unload a vehicle. Please move on. Go see the gorillas, Buy a Coke. They're fine." So people were.
He must be talking about cast members, though. This was the cast member preview.
Yeah. So and thinking they were real pulled guests out of the story structure and into some world where there's a dead animal. The whole poacher scene thing, not the presence of the poachers, which were always there, but the big story came from Michael Eisner's desire to ramp that up. He took the germ of the story and ramped it up and wanted us to make a big car chase thing out of it, which I'm not necessarily convinced it needs to occupy that level in the type of ride that it is. And so as it changes and modifies, I think it's important to have present is the fact that these animals live in a world with us and that their attitudes toward these animals have everything to do whether or not they live or die. So Joe Rohde is basically saying what it sounds like is that he likes the poaching element, but it was Michael Eisner's idea to have like the car chase and the dead elephant, which makes sense to me. He wanted more thrill in all of the parks.
Makes sense, yeah.
But it sounds like he took things a bridge too far.
Yeah.
And Joe Rohde is saying, well, that's taking people out of the story.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense to me.
Wow.
And unfortunately, there are quite a few things in Disney parks where sometimes the client or whatever, the tourist is confused and thinks that something's real when it's not.
Right.
I had read a long time ago a review calling Kilimanjaro Safaris dangerous.
Really?
Yeah, because this person was confused that this was all fake.
Oh my gosh, that's so silly.
Yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, people have like misconceptions about things.
Yeah,
I get that.
But I liked it. Yeah, like we've said. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. So I do want to say this article is from yourfirstvisit.net. It's an article by Dave Schutz, and it covers Jim Corcus' interview with Joe Rohde. I just want to give credit to the people that were quoting on the show.
Okay.
And yeah, that's just an interesting answer to that question, I guess. But people misunderstanding like the plot and then having concerns about it, I guess I can understand that.
Sure.
I can definitely understand that. And I think having the dead animal, like we said, that was a bad idea.
Yeah. No, for sure that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
That was taking it too far, right? I just don't understand. Right. I just don't understand the other, especially because the poaching story without the dead animal worked for 14 years.
Yeah, the version that we grew up with
Mhm.
it had all the thrill that Michael Eisner wanted from the poaching story, but it didn't go too far and kept the focus on the conservation and on the animals. So it was like the perfect blend of all things. Now we've gone too...
Yeah, I still feel like they want to push a conservation mentality, but they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, there's very little pushing.
I don't get off that ride and feel like I should do something, but I did before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Filled you with urgency to make a change.
Yeah,
I think that is what they wanted.
Yeah, and they used to sell stuff. I don't. They might still sell stuff where all the proceeds would go to the wildlife.
Yes.
Yeah, and we would buy that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does help. That does help. Make it feel like you're making an impact right away.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, I was filled with agency to save all of the animals when I got off of that ride.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Well, hey, that was really interesting. Thank you for sharing all of that information. I knew nothing about this ride.
Yeah, it turns out. Yeah,
same. There's so much I didn't even know I didn't know.
Yeah,
Really, really interesting. If you guys would like to learn some more about Disney theme parks, or you just want to catch up with us, you can check us out on social media as well at Neverland Navco on Instagram and TikTok.
Yes, we also have an Etsy shop called Neverland Navigation on Etsy. Just search Neverland Navigation. We're doing a bunch of like dish towels. The dish towels are popular recently with different ride sayings and stuff like that.
I saved Little Red on Kilimanjaro Safari.
Yeah.
We need to make that t-shirt.
Okay, nobody's gonna remember. I guess, yeah, that was around for 14 years.
Joking?
No, you're right. That's
People
better
remember
than the
that.
Lucky the Dinosaur one. When we found out that Lucky the Dinosaur was only in Walt Disney World existence for 3 months.
And we were like, oh, we're the only people who know about this. Okay, got it.
Turns out we were right, because I don't have people clamoring for that amazing t-shirt.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe they'll come around on Lucky one day.
Maybe. But yeah, dish towels, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and if there's a ride that you love, you can just send us a message on Etsy, and I will send you some custom design options. It doesn't cost extra for custom design, so feel free to send me a message. I love talking to you guys.
Absolutely. All right, well, I would say goodbye, but here at Neverland Navigation Radio, we don't like to say goodbye. It's way too sad and way too final. So instead, we like to say Quaharini, which means to go well. So, Quaharini. And until our next episode, we'll see you
on our next adventure.
Goodbye.